Hello healthy friends, welcome to the Giggle and Wiggle podcast, a place where we can have casual yet meaningful conversation about health topics that really matter in our everyday life. Now, in today's episode, we're going to talk about something that often shows up during the rainy season, dengue fever. This disease, caused by the bite of the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes, remains a serious problem in many regions of Indonesia. In fact, every year, the number of cases continue to rise, making us all need to be extra cautious. We'll be talking about dengue fever and simple prevention methods we can do at home. And most importantly, we will also hear an explanation from someone who is an expert in the field of dengue fever. So, stay tuned, get comfortable, get your notes ready, because today we're going to learn together how to protect ourselves and our families from dengue fever. Alright, dear healthy friends, to make our discussion about dengue fever today even more insightful, I'm not alone. Joining us as a very competent guest in the field of health. Please welcome Dr. Ajeng Habibatur Rahmah, who has extensive experience in preventing dengue fever in the community. Hello Dr. Ajeng Habibatur Rahmah.
Hello.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. How are you today? Hopefully healthy and full of energy.
Hello, Miss Dia. Thank you for your welcome. And hello, healthy friend. Let me introduce myself. I am Ajeng Habibatur Rahmah, a doctor at Loyal Heart Hospital. I'll be joining you in this episode to have a relaxed but informative conversation about dengue fever, a disease that still frequently occurs in many areas and something we all need to be aware.
Alright, Dr. Ajeng, to start our conversation today, can you please explain what is dengue fever? Because many people still think it's just a common fever, when in fact it's quite different. Can you briefly explain what is dengue fever and how it spread?
Thank you for the question, Miss Dia. So, dengue fever is an infection disease caused by the dengue virus, which is transmitted through the bites of Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus mosquito. The mosquitoes are usually active during the morning and afternoon. This disease is characterized by sudden high fever, muscle and joint pain, headache, and red spot on the skin caused by bleeding under the skin. In severe cases, dengue can lead to heavy bleeding, low blood pressure, and even organ failure if not treated promptly. Transmission occurs when a mosquito bites someone infected with the dengue virus, then later bites another person spreading the virus. That's why it is so important to prevent mosquito bites and maintain a clean environment, especially in areas that can become mosquito breeding grounds, such as water puddles, flower vases, used cans, or water containers.
Wow, it's of the Aedes aegypti mosquito is very dangerous. What is the actual character of the Aedes aegypti mosquitoes?
Did you know the deadliest animal in the world is a snake or a shark, but the mosquito? It causes hundreds of thousands of deaths every year. Aedes aegypti mosquito bite mainly in the morning and afternoon. They prefer clean environments and are very quiet when flying. One female mosquito can lay up to 500 eggs in her lifetime, and these eggs can survive for up to 6 months in dry conditions. They can even fly as far as 400 meters from their breeding site.
Do you have any tips for dealing with dengue fever?
Most mild cases of dengue fever can be managed at home with close supervision and a focus on the following. First, adequate fluid intake. Patients should drink plenty of water, oral rehydration salt, fruit juice such as guava juice and coconut water, and other fluids to prevent dehydration. Second, administering paracetamol. Use paracetamol to reduce fever and relieve body ache. Third, avoid non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Do not give aspirin, ibuprofen, or naproxen as these medication can increase the risk of bleeding and stomach upset. Next, complete rest. Patients need adequate rest to speed recovery. And the last, monitoring symptoms. Continuously monitoring the patient's condition, especially when the fever begins to subside, as this is when the risk of complications such as dengue shock and plasma leakage increase.
So, how do you actually tell the difference between a regular fever and dengue fever? And when is the right time to get a blood test?
If the fever has only lasted 1 or 2 days, you can still observe it at home as long as the person remains active and can still eat, but But if the fever lasts until the 3rd day with no improvement, especially if it's not accompanied by a cough or cold, it's best to get a blood test immediately. This is something many people don't realize the critical phase. Dengue fever is usually high from the start, but the most dangerous phase is when the fever suddenly drops on the 4th or 5th day. People often think they're getting better, but this is actually the critical period when blood vessels might start leaking, leading to shock. Most deaths occur in this phase.
I see. So, it's true that dengue fever has no specific cure yet. If that's the case, why do dengue patients still have to stay in the hospital for several days? What treatment are they actually receiving?
Up until now, there's no specific cure for dengue fever. Treatment focus on supportive therapy, mainly through fluid replacement, to restore the plasma loss due to leaking and to prevent blood pressure from dropping. A significant drop in platelet count is dangerous, especially when it goes below 10,000, as it increases the risk of severe bleeding, most commonly brain hemorrhage. The dengue vaccine works like other vaccines by training the body to form antibodies using parts of the virus. There are 4 strains of the dengue virus, and the vaccine helps protect against all 4, significantly reducing the risk of self-infection.
Many people wonder if someone has already had dengue before. Do they still need the vaccine? Yes, they still need it, because a second dengue infection is often more severe than the first one. The dengue vaccine usually does need to be repeated every year. Just complete the recommended list and you're protected. So it's clear now that dengue fever is not something we can take lightly. Could you please explain to our listener what the best ways are to prevent dengue fever?
Actually, preventing dengue is difficult. We can apply the 3M movement, which many Indonesians may already be familiar with. First step, covering water containers. Next, cleaning water tanks regularly. And the last step, recalling used items. However, this effort can be done alone. We also need community cooperation. because mosquito can fly up to 400 meters, so even if we keep our homes clean, it won't be effective unless our neighbors do the same.
Got it. And what about fogging? Does it really help eliminate Aedes aegypti mosquitoes?
We shouldn't feel 100% safe after fogging. Fogging only kills adult mosquitoes, not the larvae or eggs. Moreover, many mosquitoes today have developed resistance to fogging chemical, making it less effective.
Well, healthy friends, that's our discussion today about dengue fever, a disease that may seem minor but can be life-threatening if ignored. From today's talk, we've learned that prevention is much better than cure. Thank you so much, Dr. Raja, for taking the time to join us today. And thank you also all healthy friends. Stay tuned from our next episode on the Giggle and Nickel podcast.
Create the podcast, script, and video concept.
Bye-bye. Hello everyone, my name is Marsha Bella Safina. My name is 321042. In this podcast video, my role is as the videographer and editor. Bye-bye. Hello friends. My name is Yandiri Sari. Name 325106. And my role in podcast video is as the host or podcaster. And this is my friend.
My name is Ajeng Humberto Rahma, name 325105. My role in podcast video as a voice speaker. Bye-bye.